For all the latest on the SaWGuy podcast, be sure to subscribe and don't forget that bell icon. Welcome to the SaWGuy podcast. As always, you all know, I am the SaWGuy, and you're joining me for another $5 horror finds. Continuing on with my essential shopping of horror movies during this crazy time of the whole quarantine process, I found, digging in, one of my favorite sequel classics. I found Pet Sematary 2. Dun dun dun. Pet Sematary 2, it gets a lot of shit because of the fact it's basically the same story as the first one, just with a little bit of oddball twists. I like this one because it was more brutal than the first film. And the fact that, you know, this is, I guess you could say, a spin-off of the book and the original movie. Because in the book, they only did like one book from Stephen King, which I thought was really pretty cool, you know? So this family of, you know, a single dad and his son, they move into the town. And, you know, then they start hearing rumblings about this whole Pet Cemetery thing. And the main kid, you know, that moves in with his dad is played by Edward Furlong. And we all remember him from Terminator 2 and all that. And, you know, he becomes friends with this kid. And this kid's stepdad, he's the sheriff of the town, who's played by Clancy Brown. And, you know, just like in any Pet Sematary movie, some kind of crazy shit goes on and they bury them in the cemetery, right? So this kid's dog, he gets shot by, you know, his dad, his stepdad, because he's like, you didn't shut up that fucking dog, I shut him up for you. So they bury this dog in Pet Sematary, comes back, and, you know, obviously, you know, soil of a man's heart is stone, y'all. So the dog comes back and he's very protective of, you know, the kid. And, you know, it takes place a lot during Halloween where, you know, the kids are getting bullied by, you know, the other kids. And then the sheriff shows up. And this is one of my reasons why I like this film, is because of the fact that Clancy Brown did a great fucking job of this film, man. And I'll never forget the scene in this movie with Clancy Brown is where Edward Furlong, you know, he's riding his motorcycle or riding his bike. And, you know, this other bully kid who's fucking with him, he's a kid from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And, you know, he takes him down and everything like that, and he's fucking with him because he turns over his dirt bike and he's spinning the tire, and he's putting his face next to it. And then Clancy Brown shows up, and Clancy Brown, he's already been shot dead and brought back to life. He tells the kid, hey, go home. And, you know, then the kid's like, oh, I'm just fucking with him, Gus. And, you know, he backhands the shit out of him. Then he pulls it back, and then, he, you know, he puts his face right there next to the tire of the dirt bike, and he's spinning it. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm just fucking with you.
What are you doing, man? I'm just fucking with you. Stop it, man!
Very brutal for what it was. And what I loved even more about this film was that you had the writer and director from the first film doing this film. And for what it was, I don't know if it was the time period or what, but a lot of people really didn't like Pet Sematary 2 because they consider it kind of like Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2. It's the same film, just a little bit of differences here and there. But I mean, for $5, shit, Pet Sematary 2, it's going in my collection now. But thank y'all for tuning in for $5 horror finds, and I'll catch y'all next time, as always.